became part of the government, not just down in an underclass area. Hitler is someone out of an insane asylum. So look at Goebbels. Look at these people. These are subhuman, who are calling other people subhuman, which is what the problem is. When you are almost subhuman yourself, it's great to be able to call someone else that. But in any case, what I'm trying to say is these things are beyond where we're at. Let's just go back quickly and I'll let you go. I'll just keep you a little while longer. I'll try to get up to a certain point, up to the period of the emancipation, then we'll go. Let me just go back then. So the South thought that it had survived a miracle, and this were all the prophets that you're familiar with, where Zion comes from. You know, Zion is not a plot. Zion is a beautiful nationalist sort of proclamation. What Zionism is Jewish nationalism. Simple, no more, no less than that. And it's honored the problem is we gave it a name. And by giving it a name, then people can hate it. If you can't put your finger on something and categorize it, you then can't generate the hatred that you might feel otherwise. So when you can pigeonhole something and say, oh, the Zionists, you hear how that word is thrown around now. So maybe it was sad that they used that term to express what others call Palestinian nationalism or Bolivian nationalism or Argentinian nationalism or French nationalism. Everyone thinks nationalism is fun. But unfortunately, the Jews had a prophetical name for it, Zion, and that became attached to it, and that then took the beating that we now see it taking among some people. Others who are religious see it as something magnificent and beautiful. But I'm afraid those people are in somewhat a minority worldwide because not too many people study scripture anymore. So there's a minority. Anyway, so the South then stumbled on for another 150 years, and then the Babylonians came, and then they took the South. That would be around 585. And they destroyed the first temple, the Davidic temple. That was where the prophets all were focusing their attention on. That's how we're so interested in the temple, because of the prophets. By the way, the reason the Muslims are interested in the Temple Mount is because of the Jewish prophets. It's nothing to do with Muhammad or the Quran as such. He's interested because he knows the biblical literature. So it all comes from these prophets. Christianity comes from these prophets. I think Islam comes from these prophets. The writings of these prophets. It's very dangerous to put writings on paper because you don't ever know where it's going to germinate. And maybe there's good and maybe there's bad. You'll have to be the judge of that yourself. So anyway, I want to try to get you up to the fall of the temple, and then we'll let you go on. So things were really in bad shape. The Babylonians again took away the top class and brought them to Babylon, and sort of even the Davidic kings had descendants in Babylon. I forget the name of the Davidic king that was there. What was his name? The last one, I think. Zerubbabel. Something that we think is a weird name. He's the Davidic descendant in Babylon. Zerubbabel. The point is, Babel, that's where we get the Babel of languages from in the Bible, because Babel is really Babel, Babylon. It's the Hebrew word. So this is Zeru, shoot of, or shoot of David in Babylon. It's not just some gobbledygook word that you get in the Bible. It actually has meaning, you see. And if you tell people what it means, it just changes their mindset, right? Oh, what? Zerubbabel isn't just a lot of nonsense? No, it means Babel is Babylon, and Zeru is shoot, plant, something growing up. So it's a beautiful name. Anyway, he's the last Davidic descendant. He goes back, I think, at some point, but we don't know what happens to him. Our books don't cover it. And that's where we get this lost Davidic family. Jesus, Zerubbabel, is in Jesus' genealogy as far as the New Testament is concerned. It claims it can go down after him, but Whether they can or not is something you'll have to decide, but the point is that he's the last one that we can document to any extent. What people claim 5 or 6 centuries later is, look, I can claim descent from Dante, but I'm not sure you're going to credit it. I mean, claiming descent from David in Jesus' time is sort of like claiming descent from Dante in ours. It's, you know, it's maybe you'll credit me and maybe you won't. It's not even like claiming descent from George Washington, which you probably wouldn't even believe. So, but it's about 700 years more than that. Anyway, so the northern kingdom does break away into a kind of Samaritan group, because Samaria was the final name of the northern capital. And that's why the Jews talk about it as Shomron, because in Hebrew Samaria is Shomron, and you have in the New Testament the Good Samaritan. That's the northern kingdom, the name of the capital. So the southern kingdom, the Judeans who stayed there, had a dim view of the northerners who stayed, and they thought they were a kind of bastard race mixed with all different other peoples who had come in and settled there. Greek, Roman legionnaires, people like that, and whether they're correct or not, I don't know. The Samaritans have their Pentateuch, their 5 books of Moses, and they still exist. There's about, I don't know, I think there's around a couple of thousand Samaritans that still exist today, and most of them live near Tel Aviv because they don't get on with the Arabs so well. They've left where they used to live, which was Shechem. How many have heard of Shechem? Shechem is what we now call Nablus. Shechem was one of the northern areas, and I'll draw you a quick map here. I'm taking longer than I want. You want to go home, you're fed up, I know. I think, let me just try to do this. Okay. Here's Jerusalem. This is Palestine. This is the spine of mountains. This is Philistines here, okay? This is Shechem. Oh, it's really like this. And this is Samaria. Now, this is now Nablus. And the Jews call this Shomron. Samaria in Hebrew is Shomron. That was what the name was. Nablus. Why is Nablus Shechem? Comes from the Greek, Neapolis. Arabic doesn't have a P in it. Therefore, Pope in Arabic is not Papa, but Baba. Baba. And Neapolis is Neapolis. Constantinople comes down to Constantinople, Istanbul. The P goes into a B. There's no B in it.